News. We now know what was behind the massive law enforcement response in Bellevue this week. At the time, we were kept several hundred yards from the scene at an apartment complex near 25th and Chandler. Bellevue and Omaha police were asked to help keep the perimeter of the scene.
Yes, we first brought you this story as breaking news at the Alert Center. Meantime, today, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced a man from Venezuela has been charged with attempted murder of a federal officer. Special agents with Homeland Security investigation, along with the FBI, were looking for Gabriel Hurtado Caracio. They say he's a suspected member of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua and illegally in the country.
When agents caught him, he allegedly put an agent in a chokehold until he was overpowered. He then ran away and was caught at an apartment complex and then taken into custody without further incident.